Updated March 29, 2018, 14 hours 57 minutes and 41 seconds. It's been a sudden fall from grace for Australian cricket captain Steve Smith and teammates David Warner and Cameron Bancroft, and fans are divided on whether they have got what they deserved, or whether the punishments should have been even greater. We asked our audience on ABC News on Messenger what they thought of the bans Cricket Australia handed out to the players involved in the ball-tampering scandal, which has sponsors fleeing. Smith and Warner each got year-long bans from international and domestic cricket, with Cameron Bancroft getting 9 months. They'll each have to do 100 hours of voluntary service in community cricket. With over 1,000 votes tallied up, 38% of our Messenger users thought the punishments were fitting, 35% thought they should have been harsher, and 27% believed they were too harsh. But while the outrage of our Messenger users was palpable in the comments they sent us, among the hurt and heartbreak were calls for perspective and compassion. Here's what you told us. As far as many of you were concerned, they got exactly what they deserved and should take it on the chin. Seamus B spoke for many with this comment, coupled with the loss of the IPL contracts. The loss of a year in the career of an international cricketer is a massive punishment. It certainly covers the severity of the act, and while harsh, it stamps that this win-at-all-costs behaviour is unacceptable and needs to change. Helen S. called the scandal an embarrassment to the Australian cricket. They should have been aware that they were being watched by the security cameras. It's too late now. It's done. They have to go with the consequences. Claire B. said the punishment could have been tougher, but should have the desired result. Time away from the game and the 100 hours of volunteering should be enough time for all involved to learn from their mistakes, reshape their mentality, and fully understand their influence on young cricketers. Madeline H. called the scandal a blight on the great game, but said the players involved should take their punishments and learn. Come back after your bans, boys, and make Australia proud once again. You'll need to earn our respect and pride back, but Australia still loves our cricketers. But some of you thought they were hard done by. Sandra P. said we need to consider why the players did what they did. Obviously playing against South Africa in South Africa puts them in the wrong headspace. I question whether this decision to tamper with the ball was a reaction to Smith being shouldered by Rabada and getting off the charge, Warner being subjected to abuse regarding his wife Candice. Did this put Smith and Warner into retaliatory mode and hence result in this bad decision? They have paid a huge price for what transpired during a lunch break. Kim V agreed with the punishments at first, but I began to consider the effect on the mental health of these 3 players. I applaud the 100 hours of community service, but 6-month bans plus a further 6 months of no leadership roles would be adequate. And Francis D said we should put it all into perspective. The media has blown this out of proportion, resulting in not only overly harsh punishments, but unnecessary abuse of the players involved, as well as their teammates, family and friends. Everyone makes mistakes, and others disagreed entirely. They thought the consequences should have been even greater. Aidan C. said the book needed to be thrown at the team should have forfeited the entire series and they all should have been flown home. Tristan W. said the punishment should reflect that sport will never be the same again. In Australia, we are all about a fair go and mate sportsmanship, yet now we are branded as a cheating nation. Penalties should be harsher to make sure the rest of the world knows that we take this matter seriously. What's in a year? Nothing. David H. said there should have been lifetime bans for all involved. No tolerance for cheating at any sport. Meanwhile, some of you thought Warner got his just desserts, but Smith should be given another shot. Steve H. said Smith just needs the right people around him. David Warner has received appropriate punishment, but Steve Smith owning up to the issue shows he had leadership qualities. Unfortunately, the culture formed by the coach and management, and his lack of experience in managing in difficult situations, has led to a bad decision. With appropriate people around him, think Steve Waugh or Adam Gilchrist, Smith could be redeemed. Tim B. said Warner should be banned for life, but his heart is broken for Smith. Coercing the youngest member of the team to cheat is so deplorable. He should never be allowed back on the field. 12-month suspension is fair for Smith, but he should not be restricted from being captain when the suspension ends. I think he may have been doing the captain's thing and trying to protect his least experienced player, and others felt Bancroft in particular was hard done. Bitten C. said his was a different sort of crime. Bancroft should have been punished less as his captains were pressuring him to do wrong. Marlo D. called him a pawn who was used by others. I think the bans for Warner and Smith were reasonable, but Bancroft's was too harsh. He was a pawn in the plans of the team leadership. Finally, there were calls for understanding. Francesca H. acknowledged the ball tampering was a terrible mistake, but our players are not perfect and we as a nation are not perfect. Now is the time for contrition and compassion, and Brady B said the banned players are going to need support from Cricket Australia. It is going to be a hard 12 months and we need to remember that they are people as well as cricket players. Perhaps we could take a lesson from New Zealand. Darren C. thinks so. As a fan, I was heartened by Darren Lehmann's comments about a need for change with particular emphasis on the way New Zealand plays the game. I've always admired their approach to the game and it's not surprising that their name came up during his